Happy Sabbath. 7th-day Sabbath, not Rome Sunday Sabbath. Let's see. Yeah, forgot to do some stuff here. If I can get this working right. That is kind of bright. Oh no. If I can get the right light here. Sorry. Well, let's go back there. Okay. I think that's good. Alright. That way I'm not blinded by it. So, did I? Nope, I didn't. Hang on one second. Alright. I'm just going to share right quick in case anybody wants to join in. Okay. Alright. Cool. Alright, happy Sabbath everybody. Going to continue our study of the minor prophets. We're in Jonah this week. Started up here, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah. So, it's interesting, I was studying Tobit this morning and went through the book of Tobit. So they found a good amount of it in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So that's the most reliable witness for what was in there. But I can't read all that, so, well, I can reference it. But you have Tobit in the Septuagint and in the KJV Apocrypha, ESV Apocrypha. There's a shorter Greek of Tobit and there's a longer Greek of Tobit. I don't see where it's at in here. Let's see. Tobit. That's a RSV Tobit. KJV Tobit. I guess I can use that one. I was going to go to the reference where it's got chapter 14. Reference is the prophets Nahum and Jonah. So that'd be interesting. So here we've got the Dead Sea Scrolls translations, some of the stuff that was found in Bethabara, Qumran, and Jonah. Been a busy Sabbath today. So yeah, been a good Sabbath though. A lot of study of the Word, a lot of sharing the Word. That's what it's all about. Let's see. All right, so Jonah 1. Now Yahuwah's word came to Jonah the son of Amittai, saying, "Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and preach against it, for their wickedness has come up before me." But Jonah rose up to flee to Tarshish from the presence of Yahuwah. Tarshish. It's nice to know where biblical places are at, so in case you're interested. have not watched all their videos, but you can go to ophrinstitute.com. I read the book, very good book. Don't get it today, no buying on the Sabbath. To Tarshish from the presence of Yahuwah. He went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish, so he went down, boarded a ship. So he paid its fare and went down into it to go with them to Tarshish from the presence of Yahuwah. But Yahuwah sent out a great wind on the sea, and there was a mighty storm on the sea, so that the ship was likely to break up. Then the mariners were afraid, and every man cried to his God. They threw the cargo that was in the ship into the sea to lighten the ship, but Jonah, that would be a Y, had gone down into the innermost parts of the ship, and he was laying down and was fast asleep. So the shipmaster came to him and said to him, "What do you mean, sleeper? Arise, call on your God. Maybe your God will notice us, so that we won't perish." They all said to each other, "Come, let us cast lots, that we may know who is responsible for this evil that is on us." So back then they knew how to cast lots. So they cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. And that's also what they did when Noah and his sons inherited the earth. They cast lots. Then they asked him, "Tell us, please, for whose cause this evil is on us? What is your occupation? Where do you come from? What is your country? Of what people are you?" So 8, 9. So we got 3, 4 different scrolls, 5 different scrolls of Jonah. He said to them, "I am a Hebrew." So he called himself a Hebrew, "and I fear Yahuwah, the God of heaven, who has made the sea and the dry land." Then the men were exceeding afraid and said to him, "What have you done?" For the men knew that he was fleeing from the presence of Yahuwah, because he had told them. Then they said to him, "What shall we do to you, that the sea may be calm to us?" For the sea grew more and more stormy. He said to them, "Take me up and throw me into the sea, then the sea will be calm for you. For I know that because of me, this great storm is on you." Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to get them back to the land, but they could not, for the sea grew more and more stormy against them. Therefore they cried to Yahuwah and said, "We beg you, Yahuwah, we beg you, don't let us die for this man's life, and don't lay on us innocent blood, for you, Yahuwah, have done as it pleased you." So they took up Jonah, and threw him into the sea, and the sea ceased its raging. Then the men feared Yahuwah exceedingly, and they offered a sacrifice to Yahuwah and made vows. So they threw him into the sea, and they offered a sacrifice to Yahuwah and made vows. How'd they know to do that? So Yahuwah prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Tell us, what is your occupation? Where do you come from? What is your country? Of what people are you? So they told him he was a Hebrew. He told them he was a Hebrew and who his God was. So they knew what sacrifices to give. Interesting. John was in the belly of fish 3 days and 3 nights. So Matthew chapter 12. Verse 38, then certain of the scribes and Pharisees answered, saying, "Master, we would see a sign from thee." But he answered and said unto them, "An evil and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign." So he was calling them evil and adulterous. "And there shall no sign be given to it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. For as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth." The men of Nineveh shall rise in judgment with this generation, and shall condemn it, that they repented at the preaching of Jonas, and behold, a greater than Jonas is here. in the whale's belly. Matthew 12:40. The Greek has great fish, not whale. NAS, in the belly of the sea monster. What sea monster would that be? Leviathan, anybody? He was in the belly of Leviathan. Not a whale. And the south of Israel. So it would have been, he got on the port south of Israel, would have been the Red Sea. Where'd he go to Tarshish at? Down through here, Gulf of Aden. I don't know if you can see it. Let's zoom in a little more. Yeah. So it's coming down through here. Can I scroll? Yeah, there we go. Starts up here. Oh, you still can't see it. Zoom in. Yeah. So it comes here. My pointer is really small. Red Sea, out through here. So whoever took him, Egypt's here, Saudi Arabia is here now. Goes out here. More than likely this side at the port through the Arabian Sea. And all you have to do is go through the Arabian Sea and travel through here. I mean, you could hug the coast all the way around. All the way, hugging the coast. All the way past Singapore. Yep. You can hug the coast there. Philippines. There we go. Tarshish. Bam. Very easy to get to if you know how to sail. So he was 3 days and 3 nights. And that's the sign they were given. He'll be in the heart of the earth. So he died and he went down to Sheol in the heart of the earth. Messiah said, yeah, that's good. Maybe there. Verse 17. Chapter 2. Not all scrolls containing this chapter have been translated yet. Oh boy. Yep. So they translated in the Septuagint great whale. Nope, not really. Now Yahuwah had commanded a great fish, Leviathan, to swallow up Jonas, and Jonas was in the belly of the whale 3 days and 3 nights. Now Jonas prayed to Yahuwah's God out of the belly of the Leviathan, and said, I cried in my affliction to Yahuwah my God, and he hearkened to me, even to my cry out of the belly of hell. Sheol, thou heardest my voice. Why is translated belly of hell? Jonas 2. I guess if you're in the belly of Leviathan, you would think you're in the belly of hell. prayed to the belly of the fish. Okay, so I cried in my affliction to you, whom my God, and he hearkened me, even to my cry out of the belly of the fish. Thou heardest my voice. Prayed to Yahuwah. Okay, out of the belly of Sheol. So this says Sheol here, not hell. Thou didst cast me into the depths of the heart of the sea, and the floods compassed me, all thy billows and thy waves have passed upon me. And I said, I am cast out of thy presence. Shall I indeed look again toward thy holy temple? Water was poured around me to the soul. The lowest deep compassed me. My head went down to the clefts of the mountains. I went down into the earth, whose bars are the everlasting barriers. Yet, O Yahuwah my God, let my ruined life be restored. Went down into the earth, the habitation of Leviathan. When my soul was failing me, I remembered Yahuwah, and made my prayer come to thee into thy holy temple. They that observe vanities and lies have forsaken their own mercy, but I will sacrifice to thee with a voice of praise and thanksgiving. All that I have vowed I will pay to thee, Yahuwah my salvation. And the Leviathan was commanded by Yahuwah, and it cast up Jonas on the dry land. Can't believe that man would just leave off and not update his page. John of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Oh yeah, I could just pull up that one. Let's see. There we go. Let's see. There's Amos. Jonah. Cool. So here it says, Jonah prayed to Yahuwah his God from the fish's belly. He said, I called to Yahuwah in my affliction. He answered me out of the belly of Sheol. I cried, and you heard my voice, for you cast me into the deep, in the heart of the seas, and the flood was round about me. All your waves and your billows passed over me, and I said, I have been cast out of your sight. How will I look again toward your holy temple? The waters closed over me. The deep encircled me. The weeds were wrapped around my head. I went down to the roots of the mountains. The earth with its bars closed upon me forever. Yet you have brought the life of my soul up from the pit, O Yahuwah my God. When my life faded within me, I remembered Yahuwah, and my prayer came into you, into your holy temple. They that regard vain idols forsake their faithfulness, but I will sacrifice to you with a voice of thanksgiving. I will pay that which I have vowed. Salvation is from Yahuwah, and Yahuwah spoke to the fish. It's got fish here, and it vomited Jonah out upon dry land. So it's got to be a pretty big fish. If you go to, let's see, We hear about Leviathan in the book of Job, but that's really the only reference we get. I think we got Psalms and Isaiah. So you go to Jubilees, the book of the divisions. On the fifth day, he created great sea monsters in the depths of the waters, for these were the first things of flesh that were created by his hands, the fish and everything that moves in the waters, and everything that flies, the birds and all their kind. Great sea monsters. Leviathan. Leviathan, slay the dragon that is in the sea, Isaiah 27. Psalm 74, breaks the heads of Leviathan, heads plural, more than one head, gave it them to meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. See, there go the ships. Psalm 104, there is that Leviathan whom thou hast made to play therein. So the wilderness looks like the second Exodus will be eating Leviathan. Job 41. That was interesting. Never noticed that before where it said vanities. Could that be the beast of the sea also? I think, yeah. I'll try to stay away from Revelation. It's super hard to understand. I don't think it's the beast of the sea. But, yeah. That's a super hard book to understand. Job 41, canst thou draw Leviathan out with a hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? Canst thou put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird, or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? The dragon in the sea. It's interesting, it references playing with him as a bird. What do you see dragons doing? Flying. What do you see them doing sometimes too when they put them in the movies? Not saying the movies are correct, but dragons go into the water too. Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? I think there's an old map too that shows Leviathan, if I'm not mistaken. They got like a dragon drawn on the map in the water. Shall the companions, you see a lot of weird stuff on old maps. Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Canst thou feel his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him, remember the battle, do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? Who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. That's Messiah. So who's going to stand up? Leviathan's going to stand up against him? Nope. If you go back to, so I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment, or who can come to him with his double girdle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together with a close seal, like you see in the movies where they shoot the arrows and they can't take the dragon down. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined, and scales is in Leviticus, Deuteronomy 14, Leviticus 11. Fins and scales has to have fins and scales to be a clean animal, so you can eat the animal. Leviathan's got scales. They are joined one to another, they stick together that they cannot be sundered. By his neesings a light doth shine. See the dragon with the fire coming out of his mouth, or neesings. And his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Yep, that's fire coming out of his mouth. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot cauldron. His breath kindleth coals, and the flame goeth out of his mouth. In his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together, they are firm in themselves, they cannot be moved. His heart is as firm as stone, yea, as hard as a piece of the nether millstone. When he raises up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of the breakings they purify themselves. The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold, the spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. Sling stones are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. The deep. Where was Jonah at? Down to Sheol. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment in the sea. He maketh the path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. Upon earth there is not his like, who is made without fear. He beholdeth all high things. He is king over all the children of pride. That's Leviathan. And if you want to read another excerpt, a little bit of different details, you can go. So it's in the Septuagint, it's 40:41. At his sneezing a light shines. His eyes are as the appearance of the morning star. The flesh of his body is joined together. Where's that at? Yep, his skin is the smearite stone. So, seems to me it's Leviathan. I can't see a whale eating him. I can see Leviathan eating him. So, smearite stone. Yeah, they don't even have a picture of it. Alright. That's interesting. Could be something like that. Anyways. So, that was not translated either. What? Unreal. And the word of Yahuwah came to Jonah the second time, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and call out to it the message as this that I'm going to tell you. So Jonah arose and went to Nineveh, according to the word of Yahuwah. First question reference back to Jonah 2:7. Never noticed there said vanities. Go back right quick. 2:7. Well, I faded within me. I remembered Yahuwah, and my prayer came into you, into your holy temple. Vain idols. They that regard vain idols forsake their faithfulness. I don't see it. So Jonah arose to Nineveh according to the word of Yahuwah. Now Nineveh was an exceeding great city, a 3 days journey. So 3 days journey from where he got spit up on the shore. And Jonah began to go into the city 1 day's walk, and he cried out and said, Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. And the people of Nineveh believed Elohim, and they called a fast, and everyone, both small, great and small, put on sackcloth. And the word reached the king of Nineveh, and he arose from his throne and laid aside his robe and covered himself with sackcloth and sat in ashes. And he had a proclamation made in Nineveh by the decree of the king and his nobles. Let neither man nor animal, herd nor flock taste anything. Let them not feed or drink water. But let both man and animal be covered with sackcloth, and let them cry mightily over Elohim, and let him turn each from his evil way, and from the violence that is in their hands. Who knows, Elohim may turn and change his mind and turn away from his fierce anger so that we do not perish. And Elohim saw their deeds, that they turned from their evil way, and Elohim changed his mind concerning the evil which he said he would do to them, and he did not do it. Very good. So he was merciful. Same thing in Joel 2:14. Who knoweth if he will return and repent and leave a blessing behind him, even a meat offering and a drink offering unto Yahuwah your God? Blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly. Exactly what the king did. Gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children and those that suck the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber and the bride out of her closet. Let the priests, the ministers of Yahuwah, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, Spare thy people, O Yahuwah, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, Where is their God? Then will Yahuwah be jealous for his land and pity his people. Yea, Yahuwah will answer and say unto his people, Behold, I will send you corn and wine and oil, and you shall be satisfied therewith, and I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. Ezekiel 34:26. And I will make them in the places round about my hill a blessing, and I will cause a shower to come down in that season. There shall be showers of blessing. Same thing. And they shall no more be a prey to the heathen, neither shall the beasts of the land devour them, but they shall dwell safely, and none shall make them afraid. Beasts of the land, that's people. People as animals. Enoch. So we'll get back here. Change his mind. Yep. But it displeased Jonah greatly, and he was angry. So he told them to repent. They repented, and God didn't destroy him, and Jonah got angry. And he prayed to Yahuwah and said, I pray, O Yahuwah, was this not what I said while I was still in my own country? Therefore I fled to Tarshish at first, for I knew that you are a gracious God and merciful, slow to anger, and abundant in loving kindness, and one who relents concerning evil. Therefore now, O Yahuwah, take, I pray, my life from me, for it is better for me to die than to live. And Yahuwah said, Is it good for you to be angry? Then Jonah went out of the city and sat on the east side of the city, and there he made a booth for himself, and set it under it in the shade, until he might see what would become of the city. And Yahuwah Elohim appointed a plant, and made it to come up over Jonah, that it might shade his head, and to deliver him from his discomfort. And Jonah was very glad about the plant, but Elohim appointed a worm. As the morning rose on the next day, and all these little notes right here is where it diverges in the manuscript, and it attacked the plant, so that it withered. And when the sun rose, Elohim appointed a sultry east wind, and the sun beat down on the head of Jonah, so that he became faint, and pleaded with his soul to die, and said, It is better for me to die than to live. And Elohim said to Jonah, Are you right to be angry over the plant? And he said, It is right that I am angry even to death. And Yahuwah said, Could you imagine? He's talking to God like that. And Yahuwah said, That's a stubborn man. You have had concern for the plant, for which you have not labored or made grow, which came up in a night and perished in a night. And should I not have concern for Nineveh, that great city in which are more than 120,000 persons who do not know their right hand from their left hand, and also many animals? So pretty much God said they don't know what they're doing. There's a lot of people that don't know what they're doing, and many animals. And should I not have mercy on them? So that's crazy. He just stopped. It shows that he translated all. 223 of 223. And then he just stopped. So let me grab this right quick. So this is one thing I was referencing. You can get that in a hard copy too. So if you go on you can get the ebook, or I like having a hardcover copy. But go here, like click on that, bam, it brings you to the notes here. Alright, so if you look, so we'll go, it's Jonah. These are the Dead Sea Scrolls, what we've got here. Right, so 4Q is K4, 12A, K4, 12F, that's a different manuscript, scroll, 4Q, 12G, 3 different scrolls from one cave, another scroll, okay? This one's in Greek, that's what that means. That scroll they found was in Greek. So if you go to chapter 1 here, it's going to show the witnesses, what they preserved of chapter 1. There's no chapters in the scroll, no verse numbers, but they add the verse numbers and chapters. So here, 62, see right here, Tarshish in the translation. So the Masoretic text, that's the traditional scriptures that everybody uses, that has the vowel points. That is a tradition of the Jewish scribes. That is not Dead Sea Scrolls. Dead Sea Scrolls do not have vowel points. So by using that, you're using a tradition. To Tarshish, Masoretic text. Dead Sea Scrolls just has Tarshish. Tarshish to Tarshish. You can go here and check. Then Tarshish. So it looks like somebody added a 2. Well, to Tarshish is also in the where's it at? Let's go over here and I'll show you. Go back here, chapter 1. Well, that's crazy. I just read chapter 1 off of here. Now saying I don't have chapter 1. Okay, so you go down here. Yep, that is. Yep, so here, although this scroll is in Greek, whenever the word Kyrios, the Greek word for Lord, is used instead of Kyrios, the scroll substitutes the Hebrew word Yahuwah, written in the Paleo-Hebrew script. So even though this is in Greek in the Dead Sea Scrolls that was found, a Greek manuscript, Greek translation, it preserves Father's name in the Paleo-Hebrew. Everything else is Greek except for Father's name. So that is Wadi Nahal. Okay, Nahal Heber is where the Greek scroll was found. And that's right there. Preserve his name. And you go to Jonah 2. Hey, it comes up if you do that. Well, what is the thing now? The last phrase of verse 6 matches the Hebrew Masoretic text and does not match the Greek Septuagint, although this scroll is in Greek. When there are differences between the Hebrew Masoretic and the Greek Septuagint, the scroll usually matches the Masoretic text. So this Greek scroll, written before the Greek Septuagint, matches what they preserved in the Masoretic text. See? If the Greek Septuagint was written before the Dead Sea Scrolls, this scroll would have the Septuagint, which it does not. The Septuagint is a later translation. Okay, it works now. He's got the translations, but when you click up here, it doesn't work. Unbelievable. So, 3. The Septuagint says 3 days. This scroll and the Masoretic say 40 days. Somebody changed it later on to 3 days. So that's verse. Well, hold on. I don't want to jump the gun on it. Where's it at? I'm pretty sure the Septuagint was written later there. Okay, in 40 days, Nineveh will be overthrown. Right. So he said in 40 days, Nineveh will be overthrown. Changed to 3 days. Makes sense if he gives them 40 days to get right. Jonah 4. Look at that. Greek Jonah. Alright, so go back over here. So you have this 64 and what is your occupation? Right, so you go over here. And these footnotes are in the bottom of the translation when you get it. You open up, you go to the bottom. You can see all that stuff I'm pulling up online. Right, you'll have all the notes right there at the bottom where you can compare. See? That's how you know there's differences, and why the differences, where they came from. So this and is in the LXX also, because it's in the Dead Sea Scroll. It's in the LXX, right? It is not in another Dead Sea Scroll, which is odd. And it's not in this other Dead Sea Scroll, and it's not in the Masoretic text. So we've got 3 witnesses here that have no and we've got 2 that have an and, which and's not major. Okay, one scroll has an and, one doesn't. That's not a real big deal. When you get into whole sections missing, like you look in Samuel, I think it's Samuel, where they have a whole paragraph of text that dropped out, that's found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, that just disappeared. That's a big deal. So 65. So here, I am a Hebrew. Yahuwah, God of heaven, and I fear he who, 65. And I fear the Lord, God of heaven, who, right, so that's the Masoretic text and the LXX. The Dead Sea Scrolls says you're wrong. There is a he right here. I fear he. There you go. Who's he? Why would that drop out of the text? I got a pretty good idea of why and who it is. The New Testament tells us Messiah made everything. The Old Testament tells us Messiah made everything, the Son of God. He who made the sea and the dry land. That's who the he is. That's a big deal. Chapter 2, so you have all these scrolls here that give us a witness of chapter 2, 100 BC, 200 BC, 300 BC, old copy of the text. So 66, I called to Yahuwah and my affliction. So Yahuwah in Masoretic text has because of my affliction. And these other witnesses say in my affliction. So in his affliction he cried out to Yahuwah, which is what we're supposed to do. Because of my affliction. That's about the same. Because of my affliction, in my affliction. 67, the waters closed over me. Singular is plural in this Dead Sea Scroll and the Masoretic text. Singular in this scroll. 68, yet you have brought the life of my soul up from the pit. That's in this scroll. In the Masoretic text in LXX, it says my life. He says the life of my soul. Of my soul. Chapter 3, at 69 here. That great city, and call out to the message as this, that I'm going to tell you, 69. Not in the Masoretic text. It's in the LXX. Well, you see why I use the LXX a lot. But the same can be said about the Masoretic text. Sometimes the LXX is wrong. Call out to the message as this that I'm going to tell you. So as this is missing. We got 70 over God, to God, all these witnesses here. 71, let him turn each from his evil way. And Masoretic text in LXX is them. Let him. Lacks article 72. And God changed his mind. Lacks article. Article present Masoretic text in LXX. So God changed his mind. Chapter 4, 4QX, Lord God in these two, 73. God appointed a plant. Wonder what the difference is. Or they just didn't put the difference. 74, as the morning rose on the next day. When, so as and when got switched around. 75, on the next day. The morning rose on the next day. Right? On the morrow is this scroll in the Masoretic text. This scroll has on the next day. The day begins at dawn in the morning. So, all right. Got through Jonah. Let's check out one other thing here. I went over a couple other things. Oh yeah, Tobit. So Tobit. It's a good translation of Tobit that includes the Dead Sea Scrolls. That's what the hard part is, finding a good translation of Tobit. I don't know if I can find a good one. just a short excerpt here. Oh no. Let's see. My bad, I should have pulled this up earlier. It corrects some of the dating too, some of the ages. Let's just go Jonah, see what comes up. Coming up for Jonah. Well, let's just go KJV then. Sometimes you don't get what you want. KJV Apocrypha. Tobit. I'll pull it up there. 14. So here, let's read this last part here. So Tobit made an end of praising God, and he was 850 years old when he lost his sight, which was restored to him after 8 years. And he gave alms, and he increased in the fear of Yahuwah God, and praised him. And when he was very aged, he called his son and the sons of his son, and said to him, My son, take thy children, for behold, I am aged, and I am ready to depart out of this life. Go into Media, my son, for I surely believe those things which Jonas the prophet spake of Nineveh, that it shall be overthrown, and that for a time peace shall rather be in Media, and that our brethren shall lie scattered in the earth from that good land, and Jerusalem shall be desolate, and the house of Elohim in it shall be burned, and shall be desolate for a time. And that again Elohim will have mercy on them, and bring them again into the land where they shall build a temple, but not like to the first, until the time of that age be fulfilled. Messiah talks about the age, right? Till the end of the age. And afterwards they shall return from all the places of their captivity, and build up Jerusalem gloriously, and the house of Elohim shall be built in it forever, with a glorious building, as the prophets have spoken thereof. And all nations shall turn and fear Yahuwah God truly, and shall bury their idols. This hasn't happened yet. So shall all nations praise Yahuwah, and his people shall confess God, and Yahuwah shall exalt his people. And all those who love Yahuwah Elohim in truth and justice shall rejoice, showing mercy to our brethren. And now, my son, depart out of Nineveh, because that those things which the prophet Jonas spoke shall surely come to pass. But keep thou the law and the commandments, and show thyself merciful and just, that it may go well with thee. And bury me decently, and thy mother with me, but tarry no longer at Nineveh. Remember, my son, how Ammon handled Achiacharis, that brought him up, how out of light he brought him into darkness, and how he rewarded him again. Yet Achiacharis was saved, but the other had his reward, for he went down into darkness. Manasseh gave alms and escaped the snares of death, which they had set for him. But Ammon fell into the snare and perished. Wherefore now, my son, consider what alms doeth, and how righteousness doth deliver. When he had said these things, he gave up the ghost in the bed, being 108 and 50 years old. And he buried him honorably. And when Anna his mother was dead, he buried her with his father. But Tobias departed with his wife and children to Ecbatane, to Raguel his father-in-law, where he became old with honor. And he buried his father and mother-in-law honorably, and he inherited their substance, and his father Tobit's. And he died at Ecbatane in Media, being 107 and 20 years old. But before he died, he heard of the destruction of Nineveh, which was taken by Nebuchadnezzar and Assyrius. They had some hard names to pronounce. And before his death, he rejoiced over Nineveh. And I think he referenced Nahum in 13, Nahum the prophet. So, go back here. Jonah 1. This doesn't say anything he said against Nineveh. Maybe he said it after I don't remember seeing him say anything against Nineveh. He just tried to flee from going to warn them because he knew they would repent and they'd be forgiven. Interesting. Yep. Alright. Well, I think that's it. Thought for sure something would be in there, but that's not looking. Yep, Nahum's coming up. Not Jonah, though. Nineveh's coming in here. And, Nineveh. It did come up. Nineveh. One time. This is in commentary on Nahum. So yeah, Nahum's mentioned in Nineveh. They shall say, Nineveh is laid waste. Who shall grieve over her? Whence shall I seek comforters for you? Interpret this concerns those who seek smooth things, whose counsel shall perish, and whose congregation shall be dispersed. They shall lead the assembly astray no more, and the simple shall support their counsel no more. That's Giza Verme's Dead Sea Scrolls. So, cool. Alright, well, happy Sabbath. Hope this was a blessing and helpful to someone. Another good Bible study. And hope to see y'all later. Have a good one. God bless.